Hello and welcome to Find It. If you remember a couple weeks ago, I introduced that this man was going to be on the show and I flubbed up. He actually wasn't supposed to be on until tonight. So he is here with us tonight. And I just want to ask you all this question. I'm asking you, do you ever feel like you're having a rough day? Well, he's been living with the name Ruffin it, just Ruffin, his whole life. And he is here. He is a coach. He is a presenter. He is a lot of things. And now he is a new father. Can't wait to talk to him. Can't wait for you to feel his energy. He's been on here before and now he's a first-time father. So he may not have as much energy. I'm just letting you know, right? If you know, you know. But before I bring him on, I do want to tell you that this episode is brought to you by Studio 11 Style. This is my company. It is an online boutique. And if you see the top, there's an app and you can download that for free. And you see the gold and black 11. I would love to see you there. I do live streams and show the clothes and the products, but it's a lot more than just selling clothes. It's about what we have on the inside. And it's a community of women who come together. And here's the list of what I think an 11 is. On a scale from 1 to 10, you're an 11. We're all trying to improve ourselves. And with that, enough of that. But I do want to bring next, Jeremy Ruffin is in the house. And we will show his intro and bring him right back with us. Hello and welcome to the show, Jeremy.
DB, I'm excited to be here.
Yay! Oh my gosh, Jeremy, I have seen you. You have blown up. You are on stages all over the place. I just want to know, before we get into all the rest of the stuff, what are you doing? How has your role changed or increased or whatever? Yeah, this is where we were when you were with us before. Now that baby in the belly is with us. And he is doing great and he's beautiful. Justice. I love this. I love his name. But what's going on? Are you just business just growing? Like what's happening with you?
Well, first off, thank you so much for having me. I don't take that lightly at all. It's a blessing whenever you can speak and encourage people. So DB, keep doing your thing. We love it. It's great. It's phenomenal. But just growing every day, just learning something new, never being complacent or comfortable, loving what you're doing and growing and learning. So whether it's in the house and learning how to change a diaper and getting up at 1 or 2 or whatever you're doing, but it's just exciting. I love learning and I love growing, and I'm having to practice what I preach.
Ooh.
And a lot of that now more is, hey, got to get to bed a little earlier so you can get up and get things done, because about by 6, 7 o'clock, DB.
I know, it's the truth. And so, and this is funny because before you were full of energy because you you didn't have a little infant in the house that you had to do all these things for. And man, the feeling is real. You know what you think you know until you really know it. And now this baby's born and it is, by 6 and 7 o'clock, you're probably toast.
Absolutely. Well, it's funny because I get up and I work. I have a routine. I can blindfold myself, have a routine, get up, have my devotions, my quiet time, get them ready, get everybody's lunches and kiss them and get them out the house, and then go work out for a little while. Then I start my come home, spend time with them. You got your for-profit, your non-profit. There's all these things. So yeah, about 7 o'clock, DB, that day.
Oh yeah, it's a long day. It's a long day. And so
it's a blessing.
But you do change diapers.
I love changing diapers. Listen, girl, I would change every one of them if I could. I love because you got to remember, I've never experienced this. You're talking about fathers a little bit. I remember, I don't know if I told you this last time, I've never seen anyone who looks like me. I'm adopted. I've never seen biological. So when my son, like, this is the neatest thing ever. So I love every moment of it. I want to do everything I can. So it's,
I do know the story, and you did talk about it, that you were adopted as a baby. You were a baby, but I never even thought of it like that. Like now this is your son and you're looking at a little mini you, right?
Yes. My parents say it all the time. They keep him during the day. So they say, yep, that's what you were doing then is what he's doing. And sometimes they call him me and me him. And
Oh, I love that. How did you come up with the name Justice? And it's spelled Justus.
US. Yes, we were looking at names, and I wanted to keep my initials. So
Okay.
he's Justice Daniel. I'm Jeremy Daniel. I didn't necessarily want him to have my name. I want him to have his own personality, his own thing. But
Nice.
we wanted to keep the initials thing. So I thought that was pretty cool. So we were
Yeah, it
fortunate
is.
enough to be able to do it.
I've heard of people using the name Justice, but not spelled that way.
Yes.
I didn't know
So
if there was an intention behind that. Is it
no.
just us?
Oh, I like that. I'm gonna have to
Just
start
the
using
two
that.
of us.
Just
There's
two.
more than just two of you, but look how cute it is.
Yeah, he don't look like that anymore.
He's a biggie boy. I see you with him on Instagram and stuff. So you guys can follow him on Instagram, Jeremy Ruffin. He's also on Facebook on all the handles, but he is a great presenter. And do you have anything lined up? Any workshops, presentations, anything like that going on?
Goodness, tomorrow morning I read to a youth camp tomorrow.
Nice.
I'll be there, go work out, do my thing, get there early in the morning, and then Friday I'm doing a training for teachers. So if you're a teacher out there, or you know a teacher and they got professional development, I love to come do professional development for your school. So then Saturday morning I'll be about an hour away for a men's conference, and then Saturday afternoon I'll be speaking for a Juneteenth event. So it is this weekend. I mean, the next few days is going to be powerful and impactful. So I cannot wait. I will be getting my sleep. That's for sure.
Oh yeah. You'll have to say to the wife, "Hey, listen, I may need a little help if Justice gets up in the middle of the night." How old is he now?
He's 10 months old.
Okay, so he's probably sleeping. Yeah, I can't. It's because it's been a year. It's been a year ago that you've been on here. So he is sleeping through the night, I presume.
He is. He is
Good.
snoring. Absolutely. Actually, he's snoring.
Aww. And then so you already had a stepdaughter, I believe, right?
Mm-hmm.
So how's the blend?
Yeah.
Everything working out okay?
Oh,
I mean,
I
that can be a struggle sometimes, just to, she was
It's
probably
like
used to being the only one.
Absolutely. Like anything. And now she thinks she's the mom that carried her for 9 months. So she feels like she's, but it's a blessing because, coming in as, not biologically dad, you have to, hey, Mr. Joe.
Joe
You have to
Ingram.
come.
Yeah, you do.
You have to just love. And that's what it's all about.
Yes. And when you go and do your presentations, like, not just, it's like at a youth camp, like, what does that look like? How are you, like, are you there for a long time, or do you come in for an hour and leave? How's that work?
It depends. Like, I've been in Indiana and they had me come for a whole weekend. I've done just week events where I go one day and come back. It really just depends on who the event coordinator is, whoever the person is having me come speak. And I always ask them, what do you want your young people to hear? I can come in with an agenda. I can come in ready to tell somebody something, but that might not be where they are. So I always want to ask, what do they need to learn? What do they need to be encouraged? Where they need to be challenged with? And it's always, it speaks to me first, because it's always got to speak.
You know what? I'm going to ask you like a question, and you think about it, or maybe you already have it on your heart right now. Do you ever get feelings of like, I feel called to say something to this group right now? Do you ever get that feeling?
100%, but you got to be careful, because then it could come across as you already know something, or you already know somebody's situation. So there's a way you have to go about it in love, and I think people know when you really truly do care, rather than when you're attacking them.
Yeah,
and that's why I like to use personal examples. That's why I think I can step into many different rooms, because I've experienced a lot of different. So I think that helps out a lot. Hey, this is what happened to me, and I know you. And you can joke around, you can make it, but then sometimes you got to get up in folks' business. Be like, look, I know what you got going on, because I help young people. I am a life coach. So if you're doing what I think you're doing, and your life is not where you want it to be, well, here's the reason why. Stop sticking your hand on the stove. It's hot. It done burned you 5 times.
Yeah,
so there's ways you can go about it.
Ouch, one time. Well, what do you like? Do you feel anything like with this group that you can share? Like, is there something you feel called to share with us who's listening today? Something that's been on your heart that you've learned recently that you can share?
Mr. Joe, they're gonna end up blocking you, brother. You might want to.
It's hard to tell. I'm called to say inappropriate things all the time. Yes, that is accurate. That is accurate information. Okay. But yeah,
Mr. Joe, make sure you reach out to me, brother. I think that would be a good one. So DB, I'm gonna be 1,000% honest with you. Mr. Joe didn't mess my mind up. What was your question?
yeah. So, when I feel like I know this, that you're a super soulful, very faithful man. And you go and speak to people and you do feel called to say things. I feel like this group today, whoever is with us live or on replay, maybe there's a message that you've been feeling that needs to be spoken that you can give us today of either positivity or faith or encouragement. Have you I know that's a loaded question. I never told you I was going to ask that, but I feel like asking you that. So maybe there's something you want to a message you want to deliver.
It's crazy. I was asked to speak Saturday about substance abuse and mental health for Juneteenth. So I asked a couple people. I picked their brain today. Yesterday, somebody was talking about something. Today, the same conversation came up. We're trying to deal with people with substance abuse or in mental health or this, that, but we're not going to the root problem.
Mm-hmm.
We're dealing with the fruit. It's just like sports, basketball. I've coached basketball for forever. If someone's missing a shot, there's something fundamentally wrong with why their shot is long, short. So you've got to get down to the fundamentals of root. Joe, you tripping, bro. You need to getting to the fundamentals, asking the questions why. A lot of our young people don't know how to answer things. They don't know how to critically think. They don't know how to solve problems. We don't have adults who are so it's an amazing thing to be able to have talked about that the last couple of days. So I challenge everyone listening. There are people who are having problems and they have no one to talk to. Talk to them and let's solve the problem. Get down to the root issue. Don't deal with the fruit, deal with the root. Last thing, and then I'll answer your next question. As a school teacher, sometimes people would come up to me and say, man, I just don't understand why so-and-so is doing this, that, these, or the others. And I would ask them, have you talked to them? Sometimes these kids haven't eaten. You don't know what if their electricity's on at home. You don't know what they saw happen between mom and dad last night. If you don't ask the questions, you're seeing them cut up in the classroom, but you don't know what they've gone through.
Yeah.
So I've seen a lot of times we're not asking those deep questions.
Oh my God. I'm telling you, it's so true though. And even in our day-to-day activities, when you come across someone who seems really like not nice, and then if you just stop a second and think, wow, I really don't know what is going on in their lives. And it could be really bad. So we got to give people some grace. And so, and I know that you're that type of person who would. Jeremy has been having some computer issues. So we may lose Jeremy tonight. Actually, he told me before. He has so many empowering things to say. That's why I was diving into this right now, but it looks like his computer's thinking. So we really want to hear what he has to say. I hope that he pops back on. I do know that he is so right when you talk about, even with our health, not just mental health and in life, but with our physical health. When you go to a doctor and they just medicate you before really figuring out what is the root cause of what's going on with your health. The root, but I've never heard it said like that. Don't just pick the fruit, go to the root of the problem. It looks like I'm currently by myself and I don't think that he will be back. Hi, Lynn. So
you're not by yourself. I'm sure he'll be right back.
I don't know. He told us in the front of it. I'm like, we'll do a really quick podcast. I'm sure it'll be fine. But I feel like there's a lot of messages that I really want him to get to the crowd. And obviously,
hopefully he'll get on his iPad or iPhone.
His iPhone. Yeah. Let's see. Is he calling me? You guys, there's something with Jeremy and I that
there he is.
That it's not. Hey, you're back. Look, nothing's gonna hold me down. Look, you be roughing it.
We doing this thing. What's my background look like?
It's fine. I can see you. That's what's important.
There we go. All right.
Yes. And but back to that. You're right. Jeremy had to leave because you had to read my secret message. Joe, I love you. But anyway, so I was talking about repeating what you said about get to the root of problems. And I said, even in health, You need to get to the root of the problems and not just treat the whatever is, you got to treat the full thing. But when you're talking about not understanding, we don't know what people are going through, and give people some grace. And then also talking to people about it. You can be upset with someone and walk away being mad, but then if you don't have the conversation, then nothing ever will be resolved. I love that you said that. Conversation is key. Communication.
Absolutely. And during the day, I work for a home healthcare company. So
Yeah.
I'm in healthcare, and I get a lot of people who are sick or hurting. And sometimes they say some things to me that I would be, sometimes I'm gonna be like, DB, hey, hey, brother, I ain't the one. So I
Yeah.
got to pause and say, I got to
Yeah.
say, okay, really going on? There's probably something happening in their lives, and you have to realize it's really not me. It's something that they have happening. So that's why you got to give them that extra measure of grace and mercy for that day.
Yeah.
So, or else I would, as Mr. Joe would say, you cut up a little bit, right?
Yeah, you cut up a little bit. But what has been the most empowering moment for you during these group meetings or presentations where you felt like you really had a breakthrough?
Every time I asked the young people, was it helpful? Every time I asked them, did you learn something? And just this past week at Friday, I spoke to an all girls group at a camp, and we were talking about self-esteem.
Mm-hmm.
And you've got to treasure yourself. And I think for women, that's very important, because sometimes we can come along, and men and other things and situations come along and can get them outside of that. And I asked several of those girls, hey, did you learn something? Hey, were you encouraged? Were you challenged? Did you find one thing that helped you grow your self-esteem? And there were so many young people who said, man, coach, I needed to hear that. Man, coach, how did you know what was going on in my life? Mm-hmm. Hey, man, coach, I've been struggling with, and I just didn't have and it's amazing when you have those conversations with people that it changed them, it helped them, it encouraged them. That's when you know you're doing what you need to do. And I think that's what can fuel me, is you've made the connection. Because when you speak, you just don't know if it's connecting, because you're reading body language, you're reading faces. So when they tell you it connected, that means a lot.
Yeah, there have been times where I've done presentations and I feel like it's crickets. Yes. And I'm like, I don't really know if I'm getting any of these messages through. And then later they approach you and say nice things, and it's like, oh, that's good, because you put your heart and soul into it. Yeah. Because you believe what you're wanting them to also be encouraged in the positive part. So what got you into, I don't know if I asked you this last year, what got you into, so you did coaches athletically, and now you're a coach in another way, coaching people into encouragement. Mm-hmm. What made you do that?
Well, I'd already been doing the life coaching, motivational speaking, and I had been coaching and teaching, and having a newborn, I had to make a decision. And here's what I tell young people all the time. If you want to get what you want to get, or you want to be where you want to be, sometimes you have to make some hard decisions. This is I'm 35 years old. This is the first year in 32, 33 years, I have done nothing with basketball.
Wow.
Nothing, not coaching, not playing.
Ooh.
But it's the best decision I could have ever made, to spend time with my son. Yeah. And you've got to make tough, but it was not a hard decision. I don't know what your question was, but I know that was supposed to be my answer.
I've got a toddler brain.
No, but
it's true. You do have to make decisions based on, we're prioritizing what we only have so many hours in a day. So you want to spend those hours, instead of on the basketball court, you want to be with him. When he gets old enough, you both can be on the court together.
Absolutely. And I'm able to, instead of teaching the classroom, I'm able to affect more kids' lives in life coaching. Mm-hmm. I'm still coaching. It's just in a different way. I'm talking to parents about, they're coming to me, why can't I reach my child? Why can I? And I'll give them things that they can potentially do that will help, that I've seen work. How about you talk with them? How about you make it a safe space? How about you get out of the old habit of, do what I say and this is the way it's going to be, and get to the point where you say, hey, why don't you try this? Or, hey, why are you struggling with this? What can I do to help? And that breaks down that wall. And that's where it allows those young people to really open up and be a help.
Do you feel like that, or what kind of advice can you give our listeners about, because there are so many times where there are kids who, they don't want to talk. How can you make someone talk if they just, they think their parents are annoying. They don't want to answer the questions. I mean, how do you deal with that?
A lot of times what I ask and what I tell parents is it's just like coaching. Like parents will tell their kids something, but then a coach or a teacher will say it and they're like, that's the best thing ever. I
Yeah.
cannot believe I've heard that. I'm like, let me come do the same thing. I'm gonna be saying the same thing you've been saying. It's just a different voice. And a lot of times what you have to do is you have to love. You can't come in here with a bunch of rules and regulations and this and that, these and the others. When kids know you love them and you care about them, they will
Yeah.
open and they will do whatever in the world it is that you say. But if they see you as you're just as disciplinarian and you can't explain why, you can't have the conversation. You can't be real about what you did in life and how you struggled and how you failed and how you're trying to prevent them. I'm telling you, when you're real and you love people and you open up, there's a lot of conversations you can have. But if they don't know that you care and they don't know that you love, you ain't gonna be able to reach them.
That's so true. And also, like you're saying, being vulnerable yourself,
Oh, yes.
that helps other people open up. That's good.
DB, there's so many times where I've had these conversations with young people and they couldn't believe some of the things that I've been through, but they appreciated me because they look at you almost like, oh my gosh, he would have never gone through that. Or, oh my goodness, my parents would have never, or they can never understand what the drug influence or the sexual influence or whatever's going on or the social media. There's so many things kids deal with that we didn't have a chance to deal with those things growing up. That wasn't an issue. Wasn't so when you can open up or you can just say, hey, I don't know. I've never been there. I've never experienced it. That means a lot.
That's so true. When you don't try to pretend to understand things that you didn't live through. So I gotcha. That's awesome. So I want to know, I'm going to tell, Father's Day is coming up. It's going to be your first Father's Day with your biological child.
I know. That's crazy.
That looks like you.
Crazy.
Is part of you.
That's crazy.
And do you have plans?
Yeah, I just want to stare at him in his eyes.
No, I bet you do.
No, we'll get up, we'll go to church and we'll do our thing. I'll try to get with my dad. My dad was a pastor for many years, so we'll try to do some things with them. I love him. I was just speaking the other day and I said, my foster parents are white. My parents that adopted me are black. I got the best of both worlds. Don't talk about race, baby, because if it weren't for two white people and it weren't for two black people, I wouldn't be here today. I don't want to hear, baby.
I love it. I love that. That's so good. That's so good. We need to talk more about that sometime too.
Maybe it won't be
color
another
of your
year.
skin means nothing, in my opinion.
It was. I gotta say this. It was so funny because when we were going through some of the racial things in the United States, my friends would call me, "Oh my goodness, Jeremy, I never knew what you were going through in this," and they're like, "We just don't see color," and I'm like, "Well, I see color. You white and I'm not." So I was like, I think what you're trying to say is you see it and it don't bother you. You better see it. You better recognize it. You better see there's a difference between the two of us, but you don't let that affect you. So I think it's very important to say I appreciate my friends who reached out, but we definitely need to have that conversation. That's a good one.
Oh yeah. Next podcast, let's talk about that because I mean, you have a very unusual circumstance that could shine some light on this situation too. I love that you said one for two white people, two black people.
I'm telling you, it's so true. And that goes back to what we just talked about. When you open up about things, that's how I can step into different rooms because then people are like, oh, shoot, that's real. Your biological family left you when you were born. So I can have conversations with young people and that breaks down the barrier. And I think that's pretty cool. I can step into rooms where I don't necessarily look like a lot of people. But when I say that, it's like, oh, okay, well, he still has a good relationship with them. And I think that's important.
That's so true. That's so true. And on another level of being a father to you means what?
Man, it's selfless.
That's a loaded question, isn't it?
It's selfless. It's constant, selfless sacrifice.
Ooh.
I just spoke Saturday about breaking generational curses. They had me come in and speak about that. And that's a good one as well. And the quote and the thing that stood out in my mind is every decision that I make today will positively or negatively affect that 10-month-old. So our generation will either create some great things or will continue in some curses. But it's on me to make sure that I'm not preventing him from being what he should be, or I'm keeping our family. And so Father's Day for me, man, and being a father, DB, is, man, it's powerful. It's a huge responsibility. But before I was ever a father, I was a husband. So my son has to realize that I cannot be a father if I wasn't a husband first. So he has to know that. He has to understand that. And I got.
What do you feel? Okay, so let's do this. I feel like I hear myself. What do you feel your responsibility is being a husband to show your son how to treat a wife? I mean, that's huge, right?
I think it's huge, and I think he sees it now.
Yeah.
Kids know love.
Yeah.
Kids know when they're with a safe place and they're in the safe havens. Kids know when their mom and dad are getting along. Kids know when daddy done slipped up and forgot the anniversary and mama ain't too happy. So they can feel that. They can sense that. So constantly talking to them, hey, love your mom. Hey, look, that's my first, bro. Like, get off of her, man. I ain't had her. I had her, but you had her. Get off. That's my woman. You know, but having those conversations, and letting him know, I love this woman, and you will respect women, and you will be kind, you will love, and you will use soft hands, and you will love. I think it's important. It is never too early to communicate that. And I've been telling him that since he was in my wife's stomach. I mean, we talked a lot. So
you tell them and show them. You know, I read a book when my kids were really young that's called Children Are What They Live. And it was basically it was very eye-opening but yet it's easy to know that, you know, don't just say. So you can tell them all day long to do this, and this is what's right, and do this. But then if you're not doing it, they learn by your behavior. Yeah. So I just think that that's exactly what you're doing. I can see that so clearly with you, Jeremy. And I love to follow you on all the social media platforms because I see that you're living that life and you're showing through the way you walk your life for your son. And I bet your wife and your daughter as well appreciate you so much.
Well, I'm not perfect, DB, and
who is
the first person to tell you that? And I always tell people, listen, hey, if you knew what I knew about me, you might not want me to talking to you, but I know someone who has some grace or mercy in my life who allows me to be able to encourage people. So
I love you're humble and you're also honest. That's what we need.
You have to be. And when I'm in settings with certain people, I can be honest about certain things. And I think they appreciate that because you never try to build yourself up to be this perfect person. You just tell them, hey, we've all been through some things, man, but just don't give up. Just keep going. Yeah.
Never give up. And so and I'm not going to keep you much longer because I know the computer's kaput and now you're on your phone. But what plans do you have plans for a future, Jeremy? Like, what do you see your ideal next 5 years of your life to be?
I love what I do at my job. So I love where I am. I love helping people with home health care. I think it just fits what I do, who I am. I think the Lord puts you in different places where he allows your personality and what you do to shine. So I love that. Yeah. But one day I would love to just travel the world and speak and to train people and to teach people. I started a nonprofit in January. We launch it this month. June 30th will be our first meeting where we're training young people for free. How to be better parents, how to be better young people, how to get a job, how to keep a job, how to show up on time, how to communicate, how to budget. So the nonprofit is called Ruffin It Up.
Ruffin it up. Oh, I love it. So how do people find that, Jeremy? And I'll put it in the chat.
So they can go to jeremyruffin.com. I'm putting a lot of stuff on Facebook and Instagram so they can hear what we're doing there. We're looking for people to partner with us. Having a nonprofit, it's difficult because you got to raise money for that. That's difficult because you want to make as many of those things free for those young people who might not be able to afford the life coaching or the help, but they need.
Yes.
So that's really our mission and goal right now is to try to help get those funds and get people going and help them out to as best we can. And so Jeremy Ruffin on Facebook, Instagram, and then Ruff Path, RUFFPATH on Facebook and Instagram. We'll have some of those things on there as well.
Yeah, but if they do go to your website, jeremyruffin.com, will they be able to click on all of these things? Now, I can't remember, Jeremy. Do you have a book?
I do.
Quotes or something?
Yeah, it's called Rough Path Quotes for the Right Path. So I
So
thoroughly
all of that will be on this website. I encourage all of you to just go and check out and follow him so you really see who he is, because we can't show who he really is in a 20-minute podcast. But yeah, check out jeremyruffin.com, but also follow him on social media, because that's interactive, right? So we can see you day to day. I follow you on Instagram and Facebook, and I love to see what's going on in your life. I feel you, like I feel your energy. And when you guys, like I said, he's always really high energy. And when he came backstage, he was kind of like, oh, my computer. And I was like, this is not Jeremy. I'm like, this is Jeremy with a 10-month-old. This is new Jeremy. But yeah, I mean, but like you keep it real, you're just like, this is what it is, And so I love that. And I will continue to follow you. And I would love for us to talk about a few different topics, bring you back on where we have a little bit more time to really delve into some of the hard topics that you and I will be able to talk about freely and not be offended. We know where we're coming from.
Absolutely. 1,000%.
And share our thoughts and mutual thoughts and maybe opposing thoughts on some things. Who knows where we'll go with it. But I love that kind of stuff, So,
and you learn so much by listening to someone else talk and getting their opinion. A lot of times, DB, you don't know what you don't know. And if you've never been exposed to certain things, you just don't have the proper understanding or channel. So that's why it's always good to just listen with an open mind. We just don't have that anymore. We have what we think and what we want. And a lot of times it's not. And I know perception is everything. People judge a book by its cover. I get it. But sometimes perception is just really not reality. So you have to dig a little deeper.
Dig in there. All right. Before we go, one last question. And I asked you this before, but we find different things in life, and a year has passed. So in your life, what have you found that you can share with us so we can find it too?
When you combine your passion with your purpose, it's powerful. When you combine your passion with your purpose, it's powerful. There's a lot of people who have no idea what their life. There's a lot of grown people who don't know what their purpose is in life. If you don't know what your purpose is in life, it's very hard to be passionate about something. So then whatever you do, there is no power. I wrote like DB, wherever the Lord allows my hands to touch, it's powerful because he allows me to work in my purpose, which I know is encouraging, challenging, and changing people's lives. In training, you already know I'm going to be passionate about it. So it's powerful.
Yeah.
Person out there.
That's so true.
Purpose.
How can you, if you don't know what your purpose is, how can you be passionate and you can't bring the power? You got to bring the power with the passion. If you know your purpose.
Got to know your purpose. Absolutely. And if you don't know it, go to jeremyruffin.com, reach out to me. I'd love to talk to you and help you. If you don't feel like you're powerful enough as you are, let me help you. There's probably a couple of things we can tweak here and there, but I'm telling you, somebody needs your story. Somebody needs to hear you. You can change somebody's life. And I'd love to be the person to help you do that.
Woo, can I get an amen?
Come on with it.
I love that. I love that. All right. Well, with that, Jeremy, I know you need to get some Z's because you got a presentation tomorrow, and safe travels and peace be with you and a lot of love. And we'll have you on again. We have more time and we'll talk topics. So with that, y'all, I think Jeremy and I are peace out. Check out the free app. Check out Studio 11 Style. I'd love to see you there. And have a good night, y'all. Bye.
See ya.
Bye.
That floats around me, keeping me safe.